Avatar is undoubtedly my favourite show of all time, but it's not a kids show, and these are my reasons why. Our first stop is the Southern Air Temple. Here we see Aang explore his deserted childhood home, where he wonders where the rest of the air nomads have went. Sokka, of course, knowing that the airbenders are extinct, tries to cheer Aang up by playing a game with him. Unfortunately for him. Anyway, later Aang is chasing this lemur throughout the temple, and they come across this hut. But when Aang enters, can you guess what he finds? The skull and bones of his old mentor! This obviously has Aang in pieces, because Gyatso was like a dad to him. And this sends Aang out of control, which is unfortunate for Sokka because...
Oh!
That is twice he sent Sokka flying. Now this isn't the first time we see Aang in the Avatar state, but it's the first time we see him distraught as he realises that his people are victims of genocide, and he is indeed the last airbender. When Katara meets a young earthbender named Haru, it's revealed that his father is actually being taken away to a prison specifically made for earthbenders. Anyway, later on, the two of them find this old man stuck in a mine. And after a couple of useless attempts at moving the rocks themselves, Katara ends up persuading Haru to actually use his earthbending. Now imagine my surprise when that same old gremlin snitches on Haru and gets him arrested.
Your mom's a hoe!
Lucky for Haru, Katara hasn't seen a boy her age that wasn't her brother in about 3 years, so she decides to get herself arrested to go and save him. And now this prison is no laughing matter. The conditions, awful. The food, awful. The Fire Nation have definitely succeeded in breaking the spirit of the Earthbenders. But regardless, Katara still tries to raise their spirits by giving a speech.
Earthbenders, let us fight for our freedom!
Now you tell me, does this prison remind you of anywhere? These guys are the Nazis! And here, it gets worse. Meet Admiral Zhao, or Big Bad for Season 1. Now not only is he an antagonist for our protagonist, he's also an antagonist for our antagonist. Anyways, Aang has to find a remedy for Sokka and Katara who are ill, and he can't take his glider as there's a storm brewing, so he has to run. And Zhao actually manages to capture him utilising these sniper archers, after which he chains him up like some sort of fucking trophy. But then, Zhao gives a speech.
Auf der Gebieten des wirtschaftlichen Lebens. Hier wird ein Gesetz alles Handeln bestimmen.
That is literally Hitler! I'm done with the Nazis. Keeping up with Katara being in her Sam LaRusso arc, we meet Jet. Now Jet is a charismatic, self-proclaimed freedom fighter who lives in a treehouse with all of his mates. And I'll admit, at the start I actually liked him, but that's before I found out that, he's a fucking terrorist. This man literally blew up a dam with the sole purpose of flooding a village. Maybe he actually had good intentions, thinking a Fire Nation village would be on fire. Get out! Never mind. When Aang actually meets a firebending master who isn't evil, he wants to learn from him. And after being rejected multiple times, Aang triggers his Undertaker persona. And this clearly pressures the master to train him.
Nice.
After some basic exercises, the young monk's lack of patience actually leads him to prematurely creating fire. Now I understand it's Aang's first time, but with fire being 1/3 oxygen, you'd think an airbending master would have a little more control. he almost kills Kitara. Like, not in a funny cartoon way either. This bitch has 3rd degree burns. Like, what if she didn't try to protect her face? Actually, speaking of burns on your face, here we've got a young Zuko who wants to spectate a war meeting. After being rejected, it's his uncle that takes him in. Now, although he promised to be silent, after hearing a plan that would sacrifice a complete division of new recruits, he decided to speak out. Can you guess his punishment? He had to run a 1v1 against his own dad. Now, we don't even get to see Fire Lord Ozai's face until the end of Season 2, but that man is a menace. His own son is crying and begging for forgiveness, and what does he do? Scorches his fucking eye socket off. Admiral Zhao was planning a massive siege on the North Pole and decides to take all of Zuko's crew. It is here that he discovers that Zuko is in fact the Blue Spirit, the man that freed Aang from his captivity. At this point, Zhao has had enough of the prince, so he hires a lot of pirates to take care of the problem. Later, when Zuko is alone on the ship, he hears a noise. After investigation, he reaches the top of the ship, and it's simply too late. I don't even have anything to say about Ko the Face Stealer. All I know is that I'm 22 years of age and he still fucking terrifies me. This stupid centipede was not made for a child's eyes. During the Siege of the North, Wolverine cosplayer Zhao has a plan to incapacitate the Moon Spirit. But when he finally does it, the goat comes out of the shadows.
Let it go now!
Now I can't lie. If the Dragon of the West was angry at me, my knees would be trembling. And clearly so were Zhao's, so he lets the fish go. But Zhao ain't gonna be a bitch in front of his troops, so he lashes out. Iroh quickly gets to work, but Zhao escapes in the commotion. But little does he know that his attempted hit on the banished prince didn't work, so them two get to scrapping. The gang are mourning the moon when Aang decides he's finally had enough. He steps into the pond, hits a quick pose with the ocean, and then sinks. Bro, the Fire Nation are cooked! Anyway, Sokka puts the moves on the moon, so it comes back. And when Monster Aang sees this, he decides to take a chill pill. But the ocean doesn't forget. Swinging back on Admiral Zhao and taking our Season 1 menace out of the picture permanently. And that's just Season 1. Make sure to like the video if you want to see me cover Season 2. And believe me when I tell you, I have a lot to say about this little demon.